Well, hello, beautiful souls. I'm so glad that you could join with me today. We're going to see what Spirit has for us today. Now, I don't know about you, but some challenges keep popping up. And I'm kind of rolling with the punches. I'm dealing with things as they come around. I know that things can be challenging. I know that things can be difficult. I also know that there are some situations that just don't deserve any more energy. That's what we have here. This Son of Wands, first and foremost, wants us to recognize that there is a lot of power in our thinking. We have the ability to create problems out of thin air. We have a tendency when things go wrong to think about all the things that are not working in our favor. It's a challenge because there's so much potential in this. Sometimes manifesting the situation that we wanted to happen the least. But there's also here the power to change the trajectory of things. This Son of Wands is talking about changing trajectory. It's about changing the way that you deal with the situation. It's about taking a challenge that's presented to you and choosing to focus instead on all the things that are going okay, the things that are going well, the things that give you joy. There's a lot out there. There's a lot for you to be grateful for. And I bet if you stopped for 1 minute and just started jotting down things that you had to be grateful for, they would greatly outnumber the things that you are upset or frustrated dealing with right now. And that's the nature for most of us. And there's people out there that are dealing with severe challenges right now in the world. And our sympathies go out to them. And so when I deal with a frustration, the first thing that I think of before I allow my blood pressure to go up is to go, well, I could be dealing with something far more devastating right now, and I'm not. And even for those people that are dealing with these far more devastating situations, they're sitting there going, well, thank God I got out with my life. Thanks, Spirit, that we were able to preserve our life and our health. Because at least we have that. We can start over. I can get up tomorrow and I can do it again. I did it once. I can do it again. Our power is in manifesting the life that we want and we desire and we deserve. But the universe does not distinguish between us sitting there frustrated, venting about all the things that we're frustrated about, and the things that we're sitting there sharing our gratitude for. It's our responsibility to think about the things that we are grateful for every single day. And every single moment that you get frustrated and something else is thrown at you, you need to stop that train of thought. What can I do with this? Well, thank goodness I can get up tomorrow because I'm still breathing. Thank goodness I have my health. Thank goodness I have my job. Thank goodness I have my friends and family. Thank goodness I have the ability to try again, to continue on. Things could be so much worse, and they're not. I'm going to have a hot meal and a cup of coffee, and I'm going to come up with a solution for whatever is challenging me right now. Because the alternative is that doom and gloom speech, obsessing over the things that are going wrong, obsessing over the worst possible scenarios. And when you're putting that energy out into the universe is listening. And when you're putting that energy out in the universe of gratitude and saying, we're healthy, we'll find a solution, it'll be okay. You know what? There's a lot of potential here. Things could go really well, actually. It could go better than I expected. It could be like way less catastrophic than I'm thinking. Actually, it could actually be saving me from something worse. Even in the case of, maybe you get into a little fender bender. Yeah, that stinks. You got to get your car fixed. You might have some struggle with transportation for a few days. You're alive and either minimally or not hurt. You didn't hurt or kill anyone else. You don't know how bad the damage is, and you don't know what it's going to cost yet. You're just worried about it and thinking about it. You don't know if you're going to have the ability to pay that debt or not. But our tendency as humans is often to go right to the, I'm not going to be able to pay it. I'm going to struggle. Now I'm inconvenienced. Now this is a problem. I've already made all these sacrifices. I'm so frustrated. Spirit is asking you instead to rephrase your power in your thinking and focus instead on this healed, growing, learning version of self where you say, but I'm okay. I can get up tomorrow and do it again. I'll be okay. I'll figure it out. It's just a temporary setback. That's not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. Thank goodness I wasn't going faster. Thank goodness nobody is hurt. Thank goodness that I'm just going to go home and wake up tomorrow and deal with the solutions. Now, the spirit is also saying that not only with this thinking, but I feel like you're sometimes in an environment that continually wallows in its own self-pity, in its own self-victimization. This is not you anymore. This is not for you. And spending too much time and energy around people like this is exhausting. And then you go home and you have to even up with the universe. The universe is like, what was all that? All that complaining. And you're like, no, no, no. I really am grateful for all these wonderful things. And the universe is like, why do you keep doing this to yourself? Why do you keep putting all this energy into this toxic situation, into this toxic environment that's continually dragging your energy down? Whatever you got going on here that makes you feel like you're walking on eggshells, that makes you feel exhausted and drained after dealing with these people or this situation, you need to get out of there. It's time to leave. There's nothing worth fixing here. And sometimes we're leaving people that we care about. You can love people from afar. There's a lot of people that I love in this world that I have no desire to spend my personal energy with anymore because they refuse to heal and grow and change. They will suck me right back in all that drama and that negativity and that pessimism and that toxic hater speak where it's just perpetual blaming of other people and criticizing other people. And that energy was making me really unhappy. I couldn't let go of that thinking because every time I went back into that environment, I was immediately sucked back into it. As I started to pull myself away from that situation, I started to realize that I really, really loved life a lot more when I wasn't getting involved in that. And when I didn't have it, and it didn't have to be a part of my life. I continually was making excuses and reasons why it had to be, but it just didn't. The Spirit's saying it's time to let go. This is not you anymore. Walk away from this. You have all of the power in your hands to have the life that you love and you deserve. Make that gratitude list right now and refer back to it every morning. I pulled these two cards and it just we're going to rephrase that first video in a more gentle way. Happiness is from within. Nobody is going to make you happy. Nobody. Nobody can show you joy and beauty in your life and you be willing to accept it if you yourself have not decided that that's what you want. The name of this card is Your Life is a Canvas. Creative accountability manifestation. I cannot explain how to manifest happiness, but I will say this. It starts with your choice to appreciate the good things more than you think about the negative things. There is an element of fake it till you make it in this. Now, it's not a type of toxic positivity where you're ignoring the situations at hand. It's instead choosing to reframe your thinking around these situations. Because every situation that's occurring, there's something worse that could be happening, right? So if you, at first things first, just take that situation and recognize that it could have been worse. Now, we don't want to sit there and think about the worst stuff. Instead, we can say, well, that means that the situation that I'm dealing with isn't that bad. And really, it's my thinking about it and it's how I choose to handle that situation that's going to affect my emotions and my mood the most. The universe responds to that energy. That's all it's doing, is responding to the energy that you're emitting. So if you have a situation occur and you choose to focus on all the negative aspects of it, all the things that you're frustrated about, all the things that you have to deal with, and instead you don't go, well, at least it's not this, and I can still fix this. And you know what? Maybe this will be a good thing. Maybe me doing these things is going to lead to something better. That reframing is the energy that the universe instead feels. So that's what you're going to get back. That's how it's coming back to you. You choosing to be accountable for how you feel leads to your changing patterns where you stop the negative thought and reframe it. And the more it happens and the more that you actively do it, the more it becomes natural for you. It's almost irritating to people when they go, well, I don't want to hear your silver linings all the time. That's how I rephrase things. I think about silver linings. Well, at least it's not this. It'll be okay. I learned my lesson here. I won't do that again. I let my guard down. That's okay. I'll catch it next time before it happens even faster. It is annoying to some people, and I can see why that would be, but it took me years to curate that. I was instantly the negative Nancy. I was immediately the Debbie Downer because I had all these worries and anxiety in my mind. And that was the environment that I came from, that was constantly focused on problem, 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 rather than solution, 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 solution. So I choose to just put my energy not into feeling sorry for myself and feeling like a victim, but instead going, okay, well, everybody deals with stuff. It's not just me. So it's not fair for me to sit there and just wallow in that. I still have the ability to do something about it. So I can figure that out. I took accountability for my feelings. And when I did that, I started to recognize that I felt a lot more at peace. And the more at peace I felt, the easier it was for me to stay in that silver lining mindset and focus on the things that were going okay and focus on solutions that would solve the issues. And then I didn't have to sit there feeling sorry for myself because I was automatically heading right into the place that I needed to, which made me feel better about the situations. Sitting there and feeling bad about losing your job is not going to get you another job. Thinking about your empty bank account is not going to fill your bank account up. What can you do to solve the problem? Well, if you need a job, first things first, go spruce up that resume. Go start looking for job opportunities. Make some phone calls. You're doing something actively to curate your own happiness at that point. Taking responsibility for that situation rather than sitting there and feeling bad for yourself is the number one ingredient in happiness. It sounds like almost this irritating level of being fake, because at first you do feel like it's not genuine, but after a while it definitely changes your energy in a way that it's like slowly diluting the poison, and eventually the poison is not noticeable because there's so many other good things that you're just honed in on, and it's so easy for you to think about. And there's so many other great things going on in your life that the things that you struggle with are just minuscule, because you have all these other great things that you're very joyful about and you're very happy about. Happiness is a choice, and it's your responsibility to curate it within yourself. Nobody else is responsible for my life but me. And if I allow someone else to take advantage of me or to put me in a predicament at this big age, it's me. It's not them. You can't rely on another person to make you happy. You can't rely on another person to look out for you. It's not their job. It's nobody's responsibility but yours. As soon as you take that responsibility and you own it, and then you make a choice that you're going to flip the way that you think about these things, you really start to feel that little nugget of happiness grow into something much greater. It's not constant. I'm not going to sit there and say that I always feel amazing and on top of things, because now I have bad days. But I choose to count how many days I feel great and just allow myself a day to be and let it happen. And then when it's over, I wake up the next morning and I start again. This is your call to take responsibility for your happiness. It's nobody else's job. It's yours. These messages are coming hard today. They are speaking loud, loud, reclaiming your power and honesty. I can't always expect the truth from others, but I can expect it from myself. It's accountability again. All three of these polls today are about the different ways that we are personally responsible for how we feel. It's nobody else's fault. You cannot even blame other people for not being honest, because that's the path they're on and that's their lesson to learn. And the only thing that you have control over is how you respond to it. If you are dealing with an individual, I'm getting from spirit that we're dealing with a lot of different situations, but in this specific card pull, you want to be angry at other people for the situations that you're dealing with because they misrepresented themselves, or because they did not give you enough information about the situation. And so your decisions and your choices and how you chose to proceed were not in alignment with what you would have done if you had all the information. Spirit never said that everyone you came in contact with was going to be 100%. They're not all going to be like you are. And in fact, maybe I feel like you're dealing a little bit with a karmic response to a situation you dealt with in the past where you maybe weren't as upfront and honest as you should have been. And that's why it's really frustrating you the most, is because as much as you say, well, I wouldn't have done that, you can also think about situations where maybe you weren't. The only person you're accountable for is you. You have to be the one who says, I shouldn't have allowed this to continue on. I knew something in my gut was off, and I chose to take the easier route, which was to believe that person. Maybe they promised me some kind of ease, something was going to work out better in my favor. They promised an easy out, and it wasn't what you thought it was going to be at all. And you're angry now. You're mad at them. You're frustrated with that situation, and you're like, and you did this to me, and you put me in this predicament, and now I have all these situations to deal with. But you're the person who's in charge of your life. You made the decision to go along with it. You didn't trust your instincts. You wanted to take the easier road. And yeah, there are going to be lessons learned along the way. Absolutely. But are you going to allow that to affect your life going forward in a negative way? Are you going to continue to hold on to this anger and frustration and let it limit you? Or are you going to pull back and say, okay, we're done. It's all done. Yep. No, that's fine. Matter of fact, I'm not even going to grace you with you knowing that I'm frustrated with you. I'm just done. It's all done now. This is a hard lesson for some folks to learn because it really involves that metaphoric taking the high road and letting go of situations that you want to retaliate, you want revenge. But when you do that, you're giving them more energy. You're giving them more of your power. You're giving them more of your attention instead of the things that you need to be focusing on because you're responsible for your own happiness. It's you that's continuing the feelings. It's you that's perpetuating that situation and dragging it out and continuing it on and letting it pull you down and just consistently rolling with it. You can choose to say, I'm done. Enough. I'm not going to argue with you. You're a liar. Some people are. Okay, well, my mistake. I thought you weren't. Now, I know that going forward, the energy that I put out into the universe is going to be reflected back out at me. And so I'm putting out the energy of being honest, even when it's difficult. I'm going to say the hard things. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to mislead people, even though it may be difficult to take responsibility for my actions or behaviors or situations that transpire. I'm going to own it and be authentic about the situation because that is the only way that I am in control of my own power. Ultimately, the choice was on you. And if you own that and say, well, that was my mistake, but I'm not going to make it again. And you know what? I'm not even going to continue to hold any anger and resentment towards you. I'm just, because if I'm doing that, I'm also doing it towards myself for my actions that I trusted you. You hold that resentment in your heart for another person and how they treated you. You're giving your power away to that situation because you're blaming your feelings on this other person and you're putting that energy out. It's really about how you feel about the situation. That's your energy. It doesn't affect them at all. It affects you. So if you want this situation to end, if you want the next situation to come back around and things to change, you're going to be responsible for that situation. You're going to do it the way that you want to be treated. You're going to trust the universe to give you that back. And if a situation doesn't go the way that you want it to, you're not going to give it any more energy. You're going to pull back and you're going to refocus on what you want. And that's the only way that it works. As much as we want to blame, point fingers, and be frustrated and angry, it does nothing for you. It does nothing for you. You sit there and see how long see what it does for you. You can sit there for weeks and months and years if you'd like. You can be angry at your ex for years and years. And what did that do for you? Did it make you feel better to be angry at them? Did it give you better relationships or did it continually reinforce your feelings? Because what I see more than anything is when people sit there and go, and my ex was dishonest and this person did this and they did me wrong. And then they come around another situation. They let the same situation happen again. And then they go right back to blaming. And then see, that's how people are. And then you get these, I hate people. You keep choosing those situations. They didn't force you. You didn't get bound and gagged and dragged into it. You willingly walked into that. When are you going to take accountability for that? That's your energy. That's your power. If you instead say, oh, you know what? My mistake. Yep. All right. I'm not going to do it again, though. Matter of fact, I'm going to focus this energy back on myself. I'm going to do better. I'm going to go do some good in the world. I'm going to build myself up some good karma because I need it. But that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm choosing to do. That is owning your power. And that is the most powerful thing that you can do. It's choosing to put out into the universe what you deserve instead of what they deserve. Let karma sort them out, okay? That's not your business. And when we let the universe handle that business, sometimes it lets you watch. Sometimes it does. And then you'll know why that's the high road. You'll get it. And you'll be like, I'm glad I walked away from that instead of getting my revenge. I pulled my energy back and I let the situation handle itself, and they got all that they deserved and more. And now I'm getting what I deserve, which was much better. All right, that's the messages for today. And some of these messages are going to resonate and some of them will not. Thank you for joining me.